pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
County Commission meeting Monday, April 20th. First thing, public forum. Anybody in present or online? We'll close public forum then and move on to agenda approval. Any additions to the agenda or changes? Not, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oral. Administrative business.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, we have the minutes of April 13.
Anyone had a chance to read the minutes? Any additions or corrections? Not, hear a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Four.
We have early checks in the amount of $4,322.58.
Any discussion on the warrants? Okay, motion been made.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dirks. Any other discussion? Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
I provided to you today some information I got this morning about the RAWS program. It was not extended or updated with the legislative session. Applicants will continue to be accepted through June 30th, 2026. We currently do have our 3. So there's 2 participants with 2 years remaining and 1 participant with 5 years remaining. The sponsors, which is the counties, remain responsible for fulfilling the 5-year commitment. So we do at least have 5 years. And we will continue to get the invoices and they'll be issued in fall like normal. And we will no longer be required to submit a new resolution at the beginning of the year.
On the 2, was it 2 or 3 years left?
2 participants with 2 years remaining, and then 1 participant, they just added on, I think it was in January, so full 5.
Thanks.
So we'll still have the budget for those.
Okay.
One last thing, just a few dates. I know Tina gave you these. We do have Commissioner Dirks and Gearing going to the KCCA conference. Those are the only 2 we signed up for that, which is this week. April 30th, I will be gone to KCCEOA in Garden City, so I will not be here on payday. And
Yeah, I also won't be here that day. You'll have to be out for a procedure, so.
we will have Kathy and Faith in here just to do the payday stuff with you all.
Sure.
Yep. And then the youth leadership program is April 30th. I know you guys got the invites.
For the celebration.
Yes. Was anybody interested in going?
That's on
That's Monday. Oh, wait,
No,
no,
Thursday,
Thursday
the
night.
30th.
It's a Thursday night. It's at 6 o'clock in Florence.
I just need to have RSVPs by the 23rd, this Thursday.
I'll try to go and
Okay.
find food.
Yeah.
And you would have received those, that invitation by email, I believe.
Okay. That is it. I have.
Okay, Tina?
Okay. In the packet, you have my report. Do you have questions or anything that you want me to go over?
Have you gotten an update on the Goldenrod Bridge since you did your report?
No, there had been no more work done since Friday on that pier. We do have the bids for the stream bank stabilization that we need to have approved today. So,
I was just wondering
on the bridge
if
repair.
they'd given any idea when they were gonna install that.
As of Friday, I didn't have an update. As of today, I don't have an update.
Okay.
Are they waiting on some materials or something?
Last I knew, they were waiting on materials. So I'll try to
Concrete.
Yeah.
I'll try to follow up today and with the department and see if they have heard anything. They didn't think that it was going to take a really long time to repair it once they started.
Yeah.
So
I don't like the thought of people driving through the river.
Yeah.
We've had one or two that's made the attempt.
okay, I don't have anything else other than the bid review for
Okay.
the stream bank
We'll
stabilization.
go ahead then to the stream bank stabilization bid review.
Okay. You'll remember there are two locations, and we previously had received one bid for each location, and then we did a rebid and did not receive any more bids, so we followed up with the one vendor, and they were their bid was still good, so we have one vendor that bid for that work. So the first one is for the Goldenrod Road and North Cottonwood Stream Bank stabilization. That is for $79,110 from NF Construction. And the second location is 230th and Clear Creek for stream bank stabilization, and that that bid is $87,630 also from NF Construction. And we received no other bids.
That's cost share through NRCS, isn't it?
Yes, we will be using a cost share through the EWP program.
Do we know what the percentages are on that?
It's been a minute since,
Well,
I'll have to verify the percentage, I'm
They're
sorry.
not as good as they used to be.
It's a pretty, I feel like it's 90%, but I don't
It
want
used to
to
be 90%.
say that
I
without
hope it is.
verifying
I
it.
think I was thinking that's what it was.
Yeah, I think that is in about 90%, but I'd want to verify it.
Okay. We've got one bid, so
I'll make a motion
need
to approve.
it.
Motion to approve both for NF construction.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
I'm lucky we got one.
Yeah, and we've already got all the permits for that.
Yes, we do have all the permits now. And the work now has to take place between August 1st and August 31st. We have an extension of time to, through August 31st, but because of the certain kind of fish, we can't get in there until August 1st, because there's a protected season for them through July 31st. If we need to apply for another extension, we will, but we're hopeful but both of these jobs could be done within the 4 weeks.
Anything else on that?
No.
Okay. County Counselor.
Marcy might not be here yet.
Oh,
That's all right.
yeah.
So we can,
Marcy's next.
if she's not here, then we can.
Well, we go ahead and start if you have
Okay.
anything for open.
Actually, today is basically just an update. As to last week, if you'll recall, we went ahead and approved a vendor agreement for purposes of EMS billing. That was then immediately sent by Mick to them with my suggested changes which have been made. There was one remaining one that she wasn't absolutely certain about, so we've exchanged emails and I think got that pretty much resolved. I would anticipate bringing the final one, just for your information, because you've already approved subject to staff review, for next meeting. Couple of things under the general matters have kind of kept that list going. We still need to have some discussion, I think, with regard to planning and zoning on the bylaw revision, as well as qualified membership for the BZA. And that can be done either, today or at another time if you prefer. Also, Tina and I had a meeting on Friday via phone. Based upon changes in state law, there are going to be some compliance things that we probably need to do in terms of a policy approval that are going to be in essence mandated based upon what the change in the law is and how certain public facilities are used, bathrooms, that sort of thing within the building. So that I'm going to need to give you that policy. I made a few changes to it over the weekend. I'm going to review that last time. I also noted the CDL training and service requirements. I put together a draft that I want to give to Tina first of what amounts to a service requirement for those where we're paying for their CDL training, which is pretty significant. I also made a call this morning, but need a little more information as to exactly what all they're going to have to do in each instance, and make sure I have that list fairly exhaustively noted on an exhibit to that agreement, so we all understand what it is that's being paid for, and what that means if the county advances those fees in terms of a service requirement by someone who takes advantage of that program. Nothing really new in terms of the litigation matters today. And then under the contractual agreements, I mentioned the BG agreement I think is basically complete and done. Things that we've currently tabled. The very last one, I made it very minimal because ultimately it will probably need to wait until we have a meeting with some of the parties to this. But we need to go ahead and develop some clarification between the county and the various municipalities within the county on certain types of costs that we incur, that there seems to be an expectation that the county may absorb those in certain instances, and right now I don't think we agree with that, at least I do not, in terms of shared expenses. So it's going to involve a meeting with some of the people representing at least one of the cities and perhaps others to discuss that in more detail. That's all I have today.
Is there any examples of that without naming names?
Executive session, if you'd like, on a potential litigation matter, I can do that.
It'll be up to the commission if they wanted to.
So on the BZA, the bylaws, what do we need to do there?
On the BZA, her specific question, Tina, you chime in here if I don't say that accurately.
I'll just pull up the email she sent
Yeah,
because
that would be helpful.
I think that it needs to be addressed as soon as possible so that they can get their work done. But I know you know part of it,
Yeah.
you know.
Specifically in terms of members of the BZA, whether we want to draw those only from, I think we discussed this, but we didn't resolve it, I don't believe, at least I didn't note that you had. If you want to draw the BZA membership only from existing members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, or if you want that to be more open than that so that nominations could be made from any citizen, for any citizen.
I think we all picked people that were already on planning and zoning, so that's the way we should keep the bylaw. That's my opinion.
Should you have some sort of a consensus or a vote on that?
I'd say a vote on this one.
I'll make a motion that we
Limit BCA membership to the candidates for that from your Planning and Zoning Commission is currently appointed.
so moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any other discussion on it? Everybody understands what we're voting on?
I just think statutorily, there's no requirement that they be on there. And I don't see that it causes a conflict to have that opportunity. I mean, looking forward, there may be a reason or an opportunity to get somebody else involved in county government, and I think we all picked a current member, and to limit it to that, I think, because legally we don't have to limit it to that. We're taking an opportunity away to get more representation from the county. Is my personal take on it.
The interpretation of the statutory scheme is correct. You can go ahead and pick from whomever. You're not required to do it. It's a matter, she was asking if that's how it's going to be, just so for guidance purposes. So however you choose to do that today.
I mean, I see where Jonah's coming from because you got a pool of experience.
You know how it got to
Clark's
that.
also got a point, so.
And you also, it keeps going back to the same liability for me. Because the planning and zoning comes back to the BOCC, whereas the BZA goes to district court. So without some level of control, it could potentially wind up being a liability.
Well, the same liability works against you if the Planning and Zoning Board denies the permit and it goes to the BZA, and then the BZA is the same board that denied the request in the first place, and then they act upon that in a quasi-judicial. They're, I guess from the court standpoint, they're gonna say, well, you're the same people that denied it, and now you denied it again. Did they get fair representation with it?
I don't know that you'd probably see that challenge necessarily. I think the short form answer though is in terms of your ability to go ahead and make the choice as to we want to limit it to members participating currently from planning and zoning, or we don't, you have that absolute ability and freedom to do it whichever way you prefer. The one pragmatic discussion that's often had in the few instances where I've had something similar is planning and zoning has a broader based, if you're already participating as a planning and zoning commissioner, you have a broader based understanding of all the various issues that may have some relationship to what's coming before BZA, because there are instances where it initially comes in as a I've had a few where special or conditional use is applied for they determine that really that doesn't give me a broad enough freedom to do what I want to do. I really need it to be a zoning change, and they go to the BZA for that purpose. So there is some overlap. And you have the advantage of someone having all of that prior knowledge for whatever value that has. But that's just a pragmatic consideration. It's your call as to which way you want to do it.
You second it?
Any other discussion? It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Not all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-1.
Then the other matter that she was asking for guidance on was, the planning commission had, recommended verbiage to send back to you regarding the, resolution 2026-08. They wanted to add no longer considered a member in good standing to section 3 as it relates to and clarifies members in good standing in section 2 -5. And so the recommended verbiage would be in section 3, disqualification. Any member who is absent from more than 3 consecutive regular meetings for reasons not considered justifiable by the commission shall be no longer considered a member in good standing. The commission will recommend to the governing body that his or her membership be declared vacated and replacement appointment be made. And I just sent that to you by email so that if you want to look at it in that. It's basically, as my understanding is that it would just make it more consistent with another section of the bylaws, is what I understood.
Well, that's something we could take up next week, I guess. Does that work for you? Tina just sent that out. We normally don't act on them the same day that we receive it. Consensus?
I don't know that we need to
I can put it.
beat that dead horse. That disqualification was in the previous. I mean, all they said was they just clarified that they shall no longer be considered a member in good standing if they.
Who made this recommendation?
Planning commission.
The planning and zoning board.
Okay.
These bylaws are their bylaws. They modified them to coincide with resolution 2026-08 that we put forth, basically outlining how that commission works. And so they wrote this to comply with our resolution. I don't know if you've looked at this, Brad. I've looked at it, and I think it's very consistent with the resolution that we made. And it's their bylaws. The changes that they made comply with our resolution. And this minor change was something that they just did to clarify in their minds, and I think we should be done with it. It looks good to me. I
don't have an issue with it.
I would say that we approved it, that
Do we need it, does that constitute a new resolution then?
No, I don't think so, because it's their bylaws.
their bylaws. I don't remember anything in our bylaws that this would require us to change. This is just how they conduct
Just a
it
clarification.
for clarification. So I would recommend that I don't know that we really, do we have the authority? I guess we do have the authority to say, no, your bylaws.
Right.
But their I guess my point is their bylaws are consistent with the resolution that we gave to them, and we should accept it's their bylaws, we should accept that.
Your ability to make bylaws comes from their advisory to you. You come in and say, this is how, in terms of the process, we want you generally, from our perspective, to do things. Their bylaws then generally have to be consistent with that, which is what you were asking about or saying. And I believe they are, and this is really simply a clarification of that. I think in her case, in an abundance of caution, they want to be sure they don't have anything in there that creates disagreement for any reason with what was originally given to them as what amount to marching orders in the form of a resolution.
It looks like Sharon's raising her hand. If that's.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be good for her to.
Is she on?
Yep.
Sharon?
Is it okay if I chime in here?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so that's correct. It's just a clarification. Basically, it's reiterating to another portion of these bylaws what good standing means or not in good standing. So your board has the authority over the membership of the board. Like, how do we decide who is on the board? Who votes for that? Where can we get those members from? And then the remainder of the bylaws are more of just the inner workings of how that board functions. So that adding no longer considered a member in good standing to that portion is really just a clarification.
And I think the question that came, it's been several weeks since the question was asked, and no answer has been given, whether that change needs to come back to the board. So, since no answer has been given.
If it has to come back to the board, I would make a motion that we accept this modification to their planning and zoning bylaws and consider them in full force. And
Okay, a motion's been made to accept their changes, clarifications to the bylaws. We have a second on it? Second. Okay, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Thank you, Sharon.
And Brad, correct me if I'm wrong, this does not require another resolution. This is just
it does.
an update to the bylaws.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Marcy's here. Yeah. Marcy?
Okay, my turn. Did any of you have any questions about I know I sent you my 214s for the last quarter. Did anybody have any questions about that? It was the 36-page document, Tim. No? Okay. One of the questions that came up last quarter, as you know, we've had a lot of storm. And so we were reviewing the EOC activation procedures. And within those procedures, when an emergency operations center is activated, normally the people inside that room are ICS certified. The chart that I have, I think Tina sent to you, I do show, it has all the commissioners listed and then the ICS classes they have. If you don't have these ICS classes, or if you don't want to be in the EOC, all I need to know is who would be the representative for commission in that emergency operations center if we do have something that requires that we activate that. So I went ahead and sent the list to you guys so you could see the classes that person could have or needs to have to be inside of that emergency operations center. If it's one of the commissioners, that's fine. If it's not, that's fine too. That's your choice on what you decide to do. I just would need to know, you know, who that person might be so I can keep them in touch with if we do activate the EOC. So, that's the chart that you have in there. Now, I also put in there, in case any of you were interested, there was also a handout for a senior officials workshop class. I have 2 cities that are actually interested in going to this, but I thought I would share it with you in case some of those city officials were talking to you guys about it as well. From my understanding, the city of Gossel is most interested in this one. But if you have others in your community that are interested in going, city officials, county officials, this is a really good class that kind of sums up everything that we do in the middle of a disaster and some of the pre-planning that we can do before that event. So I did send that with it as well. And then I did put in there just kind of so you guys could see what we have coming up in the next quarter. That's a quick list of some of the events we have coming up. We did attend in April an ammonia emergencies class in Wichita. It was specifically designed for things like anhydrous and things like that. If we had a spill, the different things that we need to do in case of that situation. We did also attend an active shooter recovery. It was specifically designed for houses of worship. Dan and I are focusing on that because of the fact that not only do we have houses of worship in the community, but especially with having Pilsen here in the Father Capon. So we are focusing on that too. Last week, you might have saw the command trailer at dispatch. We have trained all the dispatch staff, day, night, and first and second shift on the command trailer, its uses, and when it would be used, and then how to use it if it is brought out for a situation. We also did Warrior Safe Kids Day. That was in Peabody, and we attended along with there was railroad safety, fire safety, farm safety. K-State came out and did some safety presentations. Dispatch went out and explained how to call 911 and work with 911 so the students wouldn't be so scared of calling. There was also a investigator from the sheriff's office out there talking about internet safety. So they did a variety of courses and classes that day. And that was done at Peabody Elementary. And then we did have last week our Emergency Response Leadership Board meeting, which is all of the emergency services directors. So that's all your fire chiefs, your EMS director, communications director, sheriff, undersheriff, and myself. So we did have that, and we are ongoing with COOP training sessions with the department heads and working with getting COOP plans done so we can work on the continuity of government plan. So, any questions?
That's a load.
Oh, that was just April. If you want me to go back, I can tell you, March, the biggest one that we did in March was the Storm Fury class. Unfortunately, we got a structure fire in the middle of it. So myself, Peabody, Hillsborough, and Florence had to leave Storm Fury after we were about 45 minutes into the presentation, and we had to go down to Peabody for a structure fire. But my deputy and anybody who wasn't a fire department member did stay, and there was over total in all the Storm Fury presentations, we trained 130 spotters in this county with Storm Fury. And we do that every year in March. We did a backup session in Burns. We always do that the Monday following the Storm Fury in Hillsborough. And that one I teach, so we did not leave for a call on that one. But the Storm Fury in Hillsborough the room was packed. And we got more fire department members in there as well as community members in there. So that's how we come up with the 130 trained this year in storm spot.
Very well attended.
Yes, it is. So,
Any other questions of Marcy?
okay.
Thank you for all you do.
Can you send me links to the rest of those training classes?
Oh, sure. Do you want, okay, there's several links I can send you. I can send you the individual class link. I also send out every single week. KDEM puts out a preparedness training classes for coming up for the next year. I send that out to all emergency services. I could send you that link as well. Or I can just send you individual ones for just these classes. Which would you prefer?
Just for these classes?
Okay.
What's the average length of these classes? I mean, duration?
Well, okay, so
Right.
Mr. Dirks has training from FEMA. So for him to do the class, it may take 20 minutes. Most of the time, if you've never been through the class before, it might take you an hour. It depends on how familiar you are with incident command structure. To give you an example, in this county, we use something called the unified command structure. Like for example, there's an accident going on right now on Highway 50. On an accident like that, the person that's in charge of the scene is usually your first arriving officer on scene. And there's your incident commander. But on something like that, it's actually more of, when we get to a disaster, it's more of a unified command. We'll have a law enforcement representative, we'll have a fire representative, we'll have an EMS representative, and the three of them work together in what's called a unified command. Well, FEMA has a bunch of different command structures. Because we have a very large county and we don't have a lot of emergency services, we tend to use the unified command. An example of that is on that particular traffic accident. So first in charge is law enforcement will take care of traffic, fire will take care of any extrication, and EMS will take care of patients. Once patients have been extricated and EMS has left the scene, that actually flips. Then it becomes law enforcement that's doing their investigation of the accident, and fire takes care of traffic. So in Marion County, we work a lot together on even small incidences, but the focus on incident command is big disasters. If you have a tornado, if you have flooding, if you have an active shooter type of situation, if you have those bigger disasters in the community, that's what ICS is used for. But the system itself can be made to be larger or smaller depending upon your size of incident. So
The training seems like it takes forever.
it does.
But
I was
it's,
just-
but
I was
it's
just
definitely
thinking,
worth doing.
On
Yeah.
occasion, we have a special meeting or something.
Mhm.
If that special meeting takes an hour, could we stay another hour and do one of these classes together?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're all online. The only one that isn't is the advertisement I sent you, the senior officials class. But the FEMA website's back open again, so
That's
you
what I'm saying, we might just, you might make note of it somewhere. If we have a special meeting that's not gonna last a long time, we could get one of those done.
What do you have going on payday?
hang on and I'll tell you.
There you go, payday would be a time.
I mean, we're gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've seen the
There's no scheming there.
I've seen the setup.
It might not work very well though, because of Ashley's staff having to run the meeting,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that probably isn't gonna be a good,
But like I said,
fit for this
on
time.
occasion.
but yes,
When is
Over
the
course of
payday
the year, we
meeting,
could
Thursday?
get 2 or 3 of them knocked out.
30th.
Okay, well, I don't have anything until 2:00, and I've got, and it's just a webinar at 2 for disaster responders and how to support them after an incident.
So if you did wanna do it, this you know, on payday coming up, after your regular meeting, it could just be a training. And we would just do special notice. Marcy could potentially lead that with you, and you'd have it. You could knock out one of them if you wanted to, or however many.
Thoughts?
Is that something can you do that? I mean, most of these are individualized and you go through and you take a test and.
I can't tell you the answer, because I'm not allowed to do that. I can explain,
But we would have
Which
to be on.
box to check?
You would all have to be on
Online.
your own computer.
no, I cannot explain which box to check. The ICS tests are not like the Board of EMS exam or the National Board. They don't have trick questions. 2 of the questions are absolutely ridiculous. And then you have a 50-50 chance of getting the answer correct. At least from my understanding. Now, I understand, I live and breathe this stuff, so to me, it's kind of second nature. But honestly, they give you, it's all a multiple choice test. It's like 20 questions. 2 of them are absolutely ridiculous. You would never do that in a disaster situation. And the other 2 are like, okay, which one is it? So, and the training, yes, it's
It's all fine. It's not the way my brain works.
yeah, and
It's good to have.
And for the record, if you have taken any of these classes before, for you guys, you don't have a limit on how old that class has to be. Okay, so if you go out and check your FEMA transcript and you have any of these classes on it, print a student transcript copy and boom, that counts. It's just people like me who they only work for a certain time period, and then I've got to re-up them. So for me, the ICS classes only work for some of them 5 years, some of them 10 years, depending upon what they are, and then I have to retake. But like I said, I mean, it takes me 15, 20 minutes and I just skip to the test, so. I don't even go through you don't have to go through the online. If you know the answers well enough, you can just skip to the test. That's why FEMA does that. So, now when I send out those training links, can I send them to you so you can send them to everybody? Okay.
What's your thoughts? Want to do one or payday?
I'm gonna have some time in a camper remotely with nothing to do in the evenings.
I see.
So I may just go ahead and tackle them.
Individually.
Yeah, sitting out on the Nebraska border.
Well, and I'll send you the link. I will send the link as well to check your FEMA transcripts. Because like I said, if you already have these classes on there, they work. There is no time limit for you guys, so. To check your transcript, because you may already have them.
Were you involved with trying to get the railroad to reimburse us for the road damage after the derailment? Did that go anywhere?
That is always me. That is my job to do after any time there's a disaster in the county that involves the railroad, even if it's a small one. All the damages for that have to go through emergency management, and then we turn it in. So Road and Bridge is the one who gave me the numbers on, you know, how much rock, how much road, what they had to do in the pictures, and then I have to go through the submittal process.
Did we get anywhere with that yet?
Yes, we have a check back.
A little over $12,000, right?
Yeah.
That's
little
what the-
over 12.
what the billed, I brought that up to Steve, whether a couple days after that. Said,
Yes.
is there a way to get some reimbursement, even though we thought maybe it was fruitless? If you
Um,
succeeded with that, that's great.
Yes, they are very good at, as long as you turn in the documentation, they'll write you a check. This is the second time they've had a derailment where I've submitted a claim on it, and the second time we've gotten a check back.
I just hadn't heard whether anything happened there. You know, make Steve aware that there was significant damage that.
And Road and Bridge is really good with Steve is having all of his guys take pictures when they fix a road and they're submitting it into Road and Bridge. Because the biggest thing to get a claim back from the railroad is you have to show them before and after shots. What that road looked like before they were ever on it, and then what it looks like after. You don't submit those two pieces and the claim is denied because there's no proof that that road didn't already look like that. So Steve has been very proactive in having all of his staff and his section men actually take pictures of what the road looks like. So if we do have any type of disaster and we need to submit a claim, we have the before and after shots already available. So, and that makes the claim go a lot quicker. The first time we did this, it took almost 6 months to get reimbursed. This time it took 2.
Yeah, it was
So-
pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean, if they're doing a lot of the legwork ahead of time, which makes that claim go a lot quicker.
I suggested Steve, like I said, just a day or two later to look at that. I know it was referred to you.
Yep. That is part of my job.
Where we'd gotten, but if that got collected and paid, thanks.
I was gonna have some commission comments, but since Marcy's here, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up now. Yeah. Talked with Marcy earlier about maybe finding grants for water testing. Sounds like a couple of our communities are gonna run short on the blue-green algae testing so that they can actively put the chemicals prior to the slug coming through. KDHE pulled the funding and they needed 1 more year of data. So this will be the 3rd year, so we're trying to, just asking for anybody if they hear of anything water related or whatever that somehow we help them out between Marion, Hillsborough, Peabody.
You mean as far as lake water goes?
Yeah, so the water supply, so it comes into the water treatment facilities.
Right.
And when there's gonna be a slug coming through, they have to catch that data. That part, I think they will have going forward. It's just all the other data points that they're trying to gather on when it evolves, when it comes, and then that, I think this is the final year for that.
Would that testing be prior to the reports coming out from KDHE every week?
Yeah, so this is
Independent?
real time. And Water Resources is pitching in 20 grand, but there's a $40,000 shortfall. So, and then, the other one was something I brought up to Tina, maybe Marcy has some input, Brad. Another state had started to, every time there was an emergency call, whether it was sheriff, EMS, fire, whatever, they automatically sent out a deal to the school board, not to the school board, but the school. And then the schools would actually check with the child the next day, just to be sure. And it seemed to be a benefit for those communities that started doing those things. And I didn't know how much struggle it would be, as emergency management, and if it would contradict any KSA rules.
Well, I'm not worried about KSA as much as I'm worried about
It doesn't, they weren't disclosing.
CGIS.
Yeah, they weren't disclosing anything to the school other than emergency services were at that household.
And they gave the address?
I think so. On those run reports, like PD as well as EMS, that face sheet that is subject to open records.
CAD?
Yeah, I think it has that address on it. And if so, then yes, anything that's on that face sheet would be permissible.
Okay. So they're taking the CAD information and then notifying the school district.
And just giving them the opportunity to meet with the kid, make sure that nothing comes from it, nothing bad is going on, or it just gives it an opportunity. It doesn't really actually drill down or make anything public. It's more of just a wellness check.
Do you know what types of calls were included? Was it everything from like,
I can double back and check.
because I don't know, the only one that worries me is domestics. But I think between you and the county attorney, if you say that's fine. It might be difficult for any type of active child investigations. Just because you're giving out the names of the victims before, but I can understand it with like structure fires, I can understand it with grass fires. I can understand it with maybe car accidents, but I don't know, depending upon, domestics, I think that's a fine
Criminal
line.
investigation issues got that exception, so that'd be a problem. Certain instances with car accidents, depending upon the medical information, there's virtually nothing on that face sheet, but I'd still get nervous.
Yeah.
Juveniles and stuff, and we need to find out what they've done. And you said it was another state that was doing this. Probably want to look at the legislation and see what they did and how they limited it, because they're going to be subject to the same things we are federally.
Yes,
So what you're saying is, like if PD was called out and then the school got some kind of a text or email saying that the PD had been at this address, these there's a couple children there, what, the counselor
I don't even-
pulls them to the side and says everything okay?
I don't know, but it's more of a preemptive before something evolves into something.
Preempt of something worse, maybe. Yeah, I get that, but a lot of that is domestic.
We can certainly look at it.
Yeah.
what other state did it that you?
I think it was Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm not 100%. I thought it
I
was
can
Tennessee,
do
but
some
I'm not.
investigation on that side too.
Fill your day out with that.
When I heard it, it sounded like it was a low budget impact, but could have a huge positive, spending very little money. And so that's kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah, cause we already work with the schools, so we'd already have that, even that text communication with them. And as some people in the public already know, they get a lot of emails from me when there's severe weather.
Yeah, the last one I got told me to take cover, and I was like, blue sky, man.
Except that front was supposed to go right from Wichita to Marion.
Yeah.
I mean, and when that front came in, I actually sent a picture of it to National Weather Service, cause you could visually see in the sky exactly where that front was moving, so, it just happened to hit south. It happened to hit around the Peabody Burns area, and not in the northern part of our county, but that,
One thing I do watch is radar a lot.
yeah, that happens quite a bit though, the reservoir likes to throw things off, so. But yes, I communicate with them, like for examples, if we have road closures, if we have, another one, like if we have an active fire that's going on and it's right around either when school's starting or when school's closing, they're notified about that. Remember when we had the accident on Highway 56 at 6 o'clock that morning? I notified all the school districts, just text message to the superintendent saying, hey, just FYI, Highway 56 is closed. So, and there's, especially running between Marion and Hillsborough, there is a school bus that does that every single morning. So did it affect all the schools? No. Did it affect a couple of them? Yes. Did I want to make everybody aware? Because you still have parents that go from, they're in the center school district, but they might attend a different school. So I wanted them to make sure, because they have mass notifications they can send out to parents. And there was a couple of school districts that, I know Marion did it, they sent out a mass notification to all of us saying, hey, 56 is closed. So we do communicate for stuff like that all the time, so. But this is something that I'll look into too.
Anything else for Marcy? No, thank you.
Okay.
Brad, do you have anything else?
Just like to follow up, Brad. I know back last year when we were talking about wind turbines and sound, and Orsted said they were gonna get you a phone number that people could contact them. Have you ever gotten that?
I can follow up on it again for next week and ask them.
Mr. Britton last week talked about his inability to receive television. I mean, I've been to his house and listened to these wind turbines, and I think they're exceeding the noise levels. And if you can follow up with them.
Yep.
And find out how we can move forward in addressing these issues within the county.
I'll get hold of them.
They're loud. 'Cause I've been places where I'm a half, 3/4 of a mile away from them, and my sound meter's still reading 55 decibels when they're running, and that's all I can hear. So if you can follow up with them on that, and I was gonna talk to them about it later this month, or have that roads meeting, but if you can follow up with them, get some clarification on how we can start
Reaching
addressing.
them, yeah, and also addressing it. Okay.
That was a year ago when they said they would get you that phone number, and they obviously have not done that, so.
I will do that.
I move to recess an executive session in order to review department head evaluations pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for item number 1 for personnel managers of non-elected personnel with the board and Brad until
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't know how long you wanna take, maybe,
start
Start with-
30 minutes or?
yeah, I mean, they think that should be plenty, I would think.
Okay. Until, let's see, that would be 1:57 with open session resumed back at the commission chambers following the closed session.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dirks. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Horrible.
Okay.
Out of executive session, no action taken. Commission comments.
I already said mine.
Or outside borders.
PDD meeting in Hillsborough today, so. Once a year, we're meeting the search candidates from their search program.
Oh, nice,
Oh, you,
project search.
you actually meet them or question them or?
We meet them and you just get introduced to what they're doing and get an update on
This
how
would
they're
be the ones for next year,
the current ones.
all the current ones that are graduating.
Yeah,
Okay.
or in the program right
Yeah.
now.
Anything else? No, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?